So Brisk. There are so many ways that you can use Brisk. I'm just going to show you a couple. The first way is with any kind of writing. I just grabbed a narrative writing, but you will see this little icon down in the bottom right with the Hall County flame. If you click on the flame, and of course it's got to be in a Google slide of some sort, a slide, an essay, or a spreadsheet. So with writing, I've got it in a Google Doc, and I'm going to say, students, we need a little bit of work here with giving some feedback. So I want to give the students some feedback on their writing. So the easiest thing is the glows and grows. So I want to find the areas of strength in this writing. You can see it goes a little bit. So the strength in this writing, some growth, and maybe some probing questions to think about. So I choose grows and glows. It'll allow me to choose what grade. So I'm going to pick 12th grade here because this was actually a college essay. I can add a rubric if I want to do it specifically to my rubric in my classroom. It can be a history essay or psychology essay with a rubric for you to use. Or you could even include the standards. For me, I've put in give feedback on this narrative writing. And the easiest thing is to choose Brisket. So it's going to Brisk, and it'll tell me the glows. It has a clear understanding. Well, it would help if my thing wasn't there. Let me put it down here. Your narrative has a clear and compelling arc that takes readers on an emotional journey. The progression from I could not stand for anyone to hear my music to the only thing I wanted to do was share this piece of my life creates a very satisfying transformation. It talks about their use of dialogue and internal thoughts, and it also, and how they used a powerful personal experience for a conclusion. Then it goes into the grows. Consider developing the middle section of your story more fully. The week of practice is covered in just one paragraph. This could be an opportunity to show your growing anxiety. Some sentences could be tightened for clarity. And it gives them a little explanation, and it's not going to go in a lot of detail with that. The transition is a little quick, so maybe do something with that. Then they're also wondering some other questions, and they don't have to take any of these suggestions, but they could to enhance their narrative or any writing that they're doing. This next piece is an honors biology, and it's just talking about, hey, these are the very brief things that you as a teacher may want to go over in the next 9 weeks. And I asked it to Brisk. Now, no, I know absolutely nothing about biology, so I could have grabbed the wrong standards, but just know that this is how it works. I asked for it, first of all, when it came up, looking for next teaching level ideas. And when I went to that, it showed me, hey, do you want to do things like bundle it? Do you need a rubric for that? Do you need a lesson plan? So it'll ask me some different questions. What I asked it for was just to create an overview of this lesson, the lesson for the next 9 weeks. Give me an overview using these standards, which you can pull in. And then I wanted it for 120 minutes, so a couple of days worth. I also gave it the learning objectives that I wanted to do. It tells me the materials and resources that I'm going to need, a hook, using a compelling case study. So again, that engagement piece, but that depth of thinking piece. And the question is, how can identical DNA lead to such different outcomes? And what is revealed about the relationship? So it's kind of cool to get them thinking about it first. And then the investigation piece. It talks about an activity, what you're going to do. It's using higher level thinking, which I also asked it to do with higher DOK challenges, depth of knowledge thinking. And then it also breaks it down to about how much time it's going to take. Then there's a protein function mapping, and it'll actually give you that mapping if you ask it for it. And it will tell you some differentiated instruction that you may need to do, some investigation with building biological hierarchies, if I can split that one out, and multi-level. you can see how it's giving you ideas and some different things to do for an overview to get your students thinking. Then it also talks about in your closing, going back to that opening study. So it's doing a true lesson component with going back. Did we learn what we said we were going to learn? Helping students predict, and different assessments that you can use as the professor. You can use extension activities, and this design, and it's telling you what it's trying to do with its extension. And last, I grabbed some information on polar bears because I want to show you what else it can do. And believe me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. But I want to create out of this information. I can do a quiz, but for this time I'm going to do a presentation. And with my presentation, I'm going to say, well, it's not these. It takes the last standards that you had up. So let's say instead of university level, I'm going to go for a 12th grade level. I'm only going to use 5 slides with images. And I'm not going to ask it to include sources, but you can on the polar bear. Okay, I brisk it, and it actually will take a moment or two because getting a brisk with images involved will actually take a moment, but it's going to come up with, and it will show you its presentation. And here's what it comes up with. Now remember, this starts with your ideas. It gives you some suggestions and just a head start, and then you've got to take it from here. But I put this on just 5 slides, so that's very quick. It talks about some basics on the polar bears, gives me some pictures. It talks about their adaptations, their hunting and diet, then its life cycle. It's talking about, hey, share with your partner why these things are happening. And then my favorite, I asked it to give an I wonder slide. So what is your exit ticket? 3 things that you're wondering about the polar bears. Share one fact that surprised you. What connections do you see between human activities and their survival? And then if I was this teacher, I could start adding my own things from here, but it gave me a little bit of a head start. So here are some ways that you can use Brisk, and I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless.